Hello, what I'm going to be covering in the next couple of videos are using dictionaries in Python. In Python, a dictionary is an object that stores a collection of data. Each element that is stored in a dictionary has two parts, a key and a value. In fact, dictionary elements are commonly referred to as key-value pairs. When you want to retrieve a specific value from a dictionary, you use the key that is associated with that value. Unlike indexes for lists, indexes for dictionaries can use many different data types, not just integers. And unlike lists, items in dictionaries are unordered. So you can create a dictionary by enclosing the elements inside a set of curly braces. An element consists of a key followed by a colon followed by a value. The elements are separated by commas. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste a dictionary declaration here into the interactive shell. So basically what we have is we have the name of the dictionary on the left, and then on the right we have three key value pairs. Each one is separated by a comma. The first item is our key, then we have a colon, and then we have a value associated with that key. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be creating a dictionary with three phone book entries. So let me just go ahead and press enter, and then I will just go ahead and type in phone book, and it returns the items, my key value pairs that are in my phone book dictionary. To retrieve a value from the dictionary, you can use square bracket notation. So what I can do is I can go ahead, type in phone book, and then I can go ahead and type in a key value, and then hit enter, and what that'll do is that'll return the value associated with that key. So I can go ahead, enter phone book, type in Katie, and that'll return Katie's phone number. If I go ahead and type in phone book and I type in Joanne, what that'll return is her name. If I go in and type in the name of a key that is not in the dictionary, what is going to happen is there's going to be a key error that gets displayed. So what happens when the key does not exist in the dictionary, an exception gets thrown, the key error exception. So to prevent such an exception, you can use the in operator to determine whether a key exists before you try to use it to retrieve a value, and the not in operator to determine whether a key does not exist. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to type in a statement using the not in operator. So we'll go ahead and check to see if Catherine is not in phone book. And then if she's not in the phone book, then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and display an error message. So we'll just specify Catherine is not found. Go ahead and hit enter twice, and then what it comes back is Catherine is not found. Other thing we could do is we can use the in. So if Chris in phone book, then we could actually go ahead and access the key or the value for Chris. So let me just go ahead and print out phone book, and we will use the key bracket notation to grab the value associated with the key Chris. If we hit enter twice, Chris is in our phone book up above, so it'll go ahead and return that value. So that's the way you can go ahead and prevent a key error, is by first checking to see if the value is either in the key is either in the phone book or it is not in the phone book or your dictionary that you're using. You can add new key value pairs to a dictionary with an assignment statement like the following. So let me just go ahead and specify phone book. And then I'll go ahead and specify my key value in square brackets. And then I'll go ahead and assign a value to my key. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and then I'll type in phone book, and what I'm going to specify here is Chris, and what his value is going to enter is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll hit enter, and then I'll go display my dictionary values. So the first thing you can see is that Joe, comparing it to above, has been added to my dictionary. However, when you look at Chris, there was not another entry for Chris added to my dictionary. So you cannot have duplicate keys in a dictionary. When you assign a value to an existing key, the new value replaces the existing value. So initially, Chris's phone number up above was 555-1111. Now it is 555-4444, which is the new value that was set on the statement up above. You can delete an existing key value pair from a dictionary with the del statement. So let me just go ahead and type in del phone book, and then you would use square bracket notation, and you would specify the key, and what that'll do. If we go ahead and look at our phone book now, that'll go ahead and delete our key value pair from our dictionary. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and retype the same statement so we can see what happens if you try to delete key value pair that does not exist in the dictionary. We get another key error or an exception that gets thrown. So in order to prevent that, let me go ahead and copy in, reinitialize my phone book. Okay, so now we have Chris in the phone book. So to prevent that exception, we can, if we want to delete a key value pair, we can first check to see if the key is actually in our dictionary. If it is, then we can go ahead and call our delete method by specifying the key. So I'll hit enter twice, and then I'll type in phone book, and now Chris has been deleted from the phone book. The other thing you can do is you can use the len function to go ahead and get the length or the number of entries in a dictionary. So let me just go ahead and type in num items, and you can go ahead and save it in a variable. So you would just specify your len and then specify the dictionary you want to find the length of. And then if I go ahead and print out my num underscore items, what'll print out is the size or the number of key value pairs in my dictionary. So we have 2 in there, Katie and Joanne. You can go ahead and mix data types in a dictionary. The keys in the dictionary must be immutable objects, but their associated values can be of any type of object. So for example, the value can be lists. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create another dictionary. It's going to be called test scores. And what it's going to hold is my values instead of just being an integer value or a string. it will actually hold a list of test scores. So what you can see now is we have our first key value pair is Kayla, and what the value for her are 3 test scores. The same for Louise, the same for Sophie, and the same for Ethan. So if I go ahead, type in test scores, we can see the result. And what that'll do is that'll show our key value pairs with the various test scores. So what I'm going to do next is if we wanted to retrieve the test scores for Sophie, we could just go ahead and use our square bracket notation to retrieve her test scores, so it would just retrieve her test scores. We could go ahead and we could save the test scores in a variable. So let me go ahead and save that. Test scores equal test scores, and what we're going to grab is we're going to grab Kayla's test scores. So I'll go ahead and specify my key, and then I'll go ahead and print out Kayla's scores. And we print out the scores associated with Kayla. So the values that are stored in a single dictionary can be of different types. For example, one element's value might be a string, another element's value might be a list, and yet another element's value might be an integer. The keys can be of different types too, as long as they are immutable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create another dictionary where the values are actually different data types. So what I've done here is I've created a dictionary that holds one employee. We have the employee name, and that is a string value. The key next item is the ID, that's an int value, and then finally pay rate is actually a float. Sometimes you need to create an empty dictionary and then add elements to it as the program executes. You can use an empty set of curly braces to create an empty dictionary. So what we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and create an empty phone book dictionary. Hit enter. I'll go ahead and print it out just to make sure it's empty. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and add entries to my dictionary by using square bracket notation. And we will go ahead and add in another entry for Katie. With square bracket notation 555-1234 for 2, and then finally I will go ahead and enter a final entry for Joanne, and that'll be 555-1234 for 5 3s, and I'll go ahead and display my phone book, and now it should have the 3 entries. The other thing you can do is you can use the for loop in the following format to iterate over all the keys in a dictionary. So what I can do is I can go ahead and for key in phone book, and then what I can do is I can go ahead and just print each key, and what that'll do is that'll iterate through my keys. I can also, for key in phone book, I can go ahead and print my key value pairs if I wanted to, one line at a time, iterate through them and print them out one line at a time. So if I just go ahead and specify my key here, and it'll print out my key value pair. And then if I just wanted to print out the values, I could go ahead and use a print statement and just specify phone book, and then in square brackets the key, and what this will print out is just the values in my dictionary. So that's what I wanted to cover in part 1 of the dictionary video. What I'm going to cover in part 2 are some common dictionary methods that are used in Python.